Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. A lot has happened in the last few hours and we want to talk about that. We start with Bitcoin price, then we talk about Cardano, the Cardano price. I only briefly cover Bitcoin, then we go to Cardano. And then I want to talk to you about, and if anyone who's interested in that, please stick around. Everybody who's only interested in technical analysis, you can switch off at that point. I talk about the Cardano 360 update. I've listened to the whole I think it was 1.5 hours, maybe a bit less, of news about Cardano, what happened the last month, what they plan for the near future. And I think I covered the most important points. And I want to just highlight quickly in a few minutes what they talked about in 1.5 hours. So if you're interested in that, stick around. We start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin did reach my target, but unfortunately, I think only on Bitstamp. I haven't checked all the exchanges. I think it hasn't reached the target yet on Binance and Coinbase, but sometimes you get different values at different exchanges. They differ slightly depending on liquidity and everything. So however, I think it came really well. It managed to get into that target box very briefly, only a quick sell-off. A lot of people were shaken out of the market again. That is why I don't like leverage. That is why I don't use leverage. Yeah, I think a lot of people lose money with leverage. I think the best is just invest in, again, no financial advice, but I like to invest just in the coins, in the actual cryptocurrency. Don't really want to use leverage, don't want to use futures or whatever. I just want to invest in the actual cryptocurrency, have it on my hardware wallet ideally, and then I'm not shaken out of the market when these things here happen. And I strongly believe for many people, holding is actually the best reward. You get the best return, because from trading around, many people are just shaken out of the market. However, let's get back to where we were. Talked about that ABC correction yesterday again. I talked about it a few days ago and a week ago, and this is playing out now. Came down from that top here, from the all-time high, in an ABC correction for Bitcoin. And by the way, I cover Bitcoin because everybody's pretty much following Bitcoin. Not all of the cryptos, but most of them are following Bitcoin, as you know. And I talked about my target level in that box, which is between two important Fibonacci retracement levels, and we managed to get in there. That could now have been wave C. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that, even though we didn't reach it on Binance and Coinbase. But sometimes with liquidity and whatever, it can be a bit different, especially if you have such a quick drop. Now, I think we haven't seen the worst yet. I think it might come down once more, but it could have been it now. It could have been the C. What we need to see now, that we say, all right, that is now maybe invalidated, or maybe it has worked out, and now we continue our move to the upside again. We need to see now an impulsive move to the upside, ideally like in 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with waves 1, 3, and 5 to the upside, and waves 2 and 4 to the downside. Pretty much what we've seen here along the way. That is what we now need to see. Because so far we've seen that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside, or an ABC, however you want to see it. And I think now we are going potentially back up, but obviously it has just happened. So we now need to see what is developing here. But it could have been already that turnaround point now. Yeah, so just really a heads up. It hit my target level, at least on this exchange here, on which I put the ABC and the targets. I don't think it has hit it on Coinbase. You can see it. We only managed to get down to 57.6K. Yeah, I mean, still very close. And on Binance, we managed to get down to 57.5K. So fair enough. I mean, it pretty much worked out, right? I mean, how much percent difference is there to my target level? But it depending on what develops now, obviously that needs to be observed. I can't give you any view now, because we need to see what is happening now with the Bitcoin price. Well, we can certainly see it was bought up very quickly, which is a good sign. So yeah, maybe that was the low here at 57.5K, and maybe now we continue to the upside, but we need to see what the next few hours bring. Now with Cardano, that followed Bitcoin, but we need to say we haven't really seen a massive drop while Bitcoin was dropping quickly. I would have loved to capture or grab some more ADA at a discount, but I think we didn't get below 195, and this is Kraken here. Can quickly check Binance. Here we managed to get 195, so it's holding well now. I mean, I did say yesterday that I believe after we touched that my target of 181, which for that C correction for Cardano was actually what I was looking for. My assumption was we come down once more, maybe even further, because I thought that Bitcoin, again based on that pattern, had not completed the correction yet. Well, now I say maybe because we hit the target level, at least on Bitstamp, and we came very close on Coinbase and Binance. If that was it, that correction for Bitcoin, then we might also continue our way up now for Cardano. But again, it's too early to say. To be fair, we have really held very well now that $2 level, and now we're above $2 again. And we hit the target level as well yesterday, you know, if you remember. So it's looking not too bad. I mean, it's playing out, but I can't tell you now without seeing how it's now developing if we have, with which likelihood we've already now seen the low yet. My feeling is we haven't seen it yet, but we came really close and we actually hit the target. So just we need to see what's going on, but it's looking okay. It's looking good. You know, what we see actually as well here, that's the 1 hour chart only, however, but on the Bitcoin chart, we can see a bullish divergence forming where you made lower lows here on the price, but you made higher lows here on the RSI. And if we make it a bit larger, you might be able to see that. You can see those higher lows here. It's only the hourly though, so the hourly is obviously less relevant, but you can see the higher lows here where we made in the same wave actually lower lows on the price. So pretty much like that, roughly, right? Okay, so that is a bullish divergence. So another heads up that we might have seen the low. The other heads up is actually that also for Bitcoin here we've seen that long wick to the downside. So that indicates, as we saw yesterday for Cardano, it was bought up really quickly. Yeah, so far not looking too bad. I'm not saying that we couldn't come down further, but we had really good support at the 200-day moving average and at that 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level for Cardano. Yeah, we are following Bitcoin, so we just need to see what Bitcoin is doing next. And as I said, we could have really seen that low now. That's big news. That's good. What we see here on the 4 hour chart for Cardano is potentially a buy signal on the MACD now. So we could really continue up from here. You know, it's possible. We could now see better prices in the next few days potentially. Yeah. Also, you know, yesterday we were in the oversold range on the 4 hour. Let's just see how the daily is looking like. On the daily here, yeah, here we have not yet seen that potential reversal. So we might actually, that's what I said in my earlier video here on the MACD on the daily. We're actually extending away. We're getting in the, we actually only had the sell signal here on the 26th for Cardano. So as I said, it remains to be seen. Can't really tell you now, but we hit the target level. And the next few hours will show if we can continue to, if we see an impulsive move now to the upside, because all the way when we were in this sideways move here between the 0.5 and the 0.382 Fibonacci retracement level, all the way for since middle of September, we haven't really seen any impulsive move to the upside. It was just sideways move. So yeah, that really, we need to see that development. We need to see what the price is doing to sort of predict what could happen next. But Bitcoin isn't looking too bad. It was all bought up, so good signs for Cardano potentially. And as we speak, we climb up a little bit, again 5% to the upside today. So looking good. I think for Cardano, what I am looking for, what I really am looking for in terms of, you know, okay, this is now the breakout, is that we break above the 50 line on the RSI. You can use that, you know, patterns and everything, that can be subjective, but the RSI is oftentimes very objective. It very clearly tells you here where the breakout point will be, and that will be at the 50 line of the RSI. We haven't been above that for 6-7 weeks now, and you can see how we really on the RSI did not manage to get above the 50 line. And it really is the 50 line that is here dividing us from the pump basically to the upside. Yeah, so watch that. If we can get above the 50 line, that might be that final breakout to the upside. I'm looking for that, the 50 line, and that will be the signal that we go up, in my view. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So let's get to Cardano 360. I listened to the whole 1.5 hours, and a few good things to talk about. Nothing mind-blowing, to be honest, but some good news, some reminders as well, what happened and what's going to happen next. So I think it's looking good, I think, in general. So what we've got is they first of all started off reminding us about the major partnerships they announced, and they started with Dish. Now what I want to point out here, I didn't actually see that on the 26th, but Helium you know the Helium cryptocurrency potentially. I mentioned it actually in the Telegram chat for the members for a few days ago, that I would probably buy that next if I had some money available and I wanted to get into crypto. Helium, they now partner with Dish as well. I think that's good news. So if Helium and Cardano both partner with Dish, I think that's good news. They didn't mention that in the Cardano 360, but when I was looking here for Dish, I found that. So yeah, but they reminded us about the Dish partnership, and I think that is something big. The more I'm actually looking into that, the bigger that is, because Dish is involved with 5G, and that's huge. So that will help Cardano to grow, and that is actually quite massive. You know, the more I'm looking into that, it's actually quite big. So the next one was they talked about Boost Mobile partnership as well. So they reminded us. Then they talked about COTI, of course, about DJet coming, that stable coin. Now, what I noticed when I looked at the COTI website, they are actually launching mainnet 2.0 in 4 days or 5 days. So I'm not sure if that will lead to any price increase or whatever. If people realize that, maybe it will. So I'm just giving you the heads up. No financial advice here. I actually don't know too much about mainnet 2.0. I didn't have time to look into this, but you might want to look into that if you're interested. And I know a lot of people here are interested in COTI on this channel, so might want to check that out. They also talked about the Project Catalyst Fund 6. They talked about you know, how many people now voted and everything. And this, I think this has now been completed as far as I know, but they talked about the Fund 7, which is I think launching on the 11th of November. And they said that Fund 7 will be twice the size as Fund 8. So it will be 8 million. I think that is quite substantial. That is really interesting and really big and really good. So that is interesting. They also talked about a 6 million fund for Africa that they have launched as well. I think this is nothing too new, but it happened recently, so they reminded us there. But here, that is huge. That Fund 6, that's obviously all done. You know, they said the number of addresses that actually registered was a record number as well, and it just shows the decentralization and how many people are actually interested in participating in that and are really interested, you know, in voting. I think they said 3.5 billion ADA were actually involved in voting here. So I found it quite big. Then we've got obviously the Chainlink partnership that allows people or developers as well and apps and blockchain actually to access real world databases with Chainlink's Oracle. So that is big. Obviously they announced that during the summit as well. Then they talked about SingularityNet, that they cooperate with them to bring AI to the Cardano blockchain. I think that is really solid and good as well. Then they talked about Oasis Pro, their partnership, and we haven't really talked about that on this channel, but it is about delivering or providing a bond issuance platform. So for bonds, I think specifically for third world countries, that they can access the bond market, and that obviously cutting out the middleman and then really providing basically taking the middleman out and you know, reducing fees. So that is good. I haven't looked too much into that actually. Then they reminded us about all these partnerships that are related to their products that they actually have, like digital identity, product authentication, traceability. And they also talked about, I didn't really write down what company it was, but they are working with a, I think, beverage company to for supply chain tracking and traceability of their bottles. And I think they talked about 4 million bottles of a drink. I don't know what it was. I didn't really write that down, to be produced with the help, I think, of the system that Cardano provides, or that input-output provide, until the end of the year. I think that was interesting and quite good as well. What else? Well, I talked about already about that Emergo Fund, yeah, that investment vehicle, but also the fund for specifically for Africa. So they mentioned that again, just shows the focus on Africa and that they want to invest there. What else did we have? They said that they have now a record number of people actually who are actually joining on that Cardano Stack Exchange. Now, if you don't know what the Stack Exchange is, that is actually their, I think, their forum where people can ask questions. I think anything about Cardano, but mainly it's for developers, it's for programmers, you know, Pluto's program, and people who really want to get into it, into Cardano, into the app development and everything. So also into stake pools and everything. There are all the questions here, NFTs and all the stuff. So it might be worth, if you're interested in Cardano in more detail, you might want to register there as well. They also said in terms of social media, they've reached new record numbers. So I think they said more people than ever have now registered for their email subscription, IOHK email newsletter. I think they said 75,000. Then at the moment there are 160 Catalyst funded projects in development and over 300 NFT projects. And there are only over 200 projects running in testnets at the moment. So found that quite a good number as well. What else? They talked about SundaeSwap. So they had the guy from SundaeSwap actually in the on the video. SundaeSwap also funded by the C fund, right? So supported by Cardano. And yeah, they said actually they are busy developing it. I think they've launched a new website recently. They are busy developing it. It sounded all really good, but they say they will attempt to launch before the end of the year. But they try to get it done in a sensible way, and they want to deliver something good, which is why they haven't released it yet. What else? So SundaeSwap, I think they're working on it, looking good in general. And then I think they finished off with talking about all the projects, all the other DEXs as well, like Maladex. I don't have all the websites open here, but Maladex is one that is on the Cardano blockchain. I think none of them have been launched yet. But we've got Maladex, we've got MinSwap, we've got ErgoDex, we've got CarDex, ADEX, and Occam. So there are probably more. They haven't mentioned them all, but these are like some key DEXs that will be launched on the Cardano blockchain that are currently in development. And the guys from who were in the video, they said that probably before the end of the year, there will be a good number of DApps generally being launched. But people want to deliver something good with a good quality, so they're not rushing it, which I think is a good way of doing it. They haven't mentioned that additional hard fork that will be probably taking place before the end of the year. I talked about it in a video this week, where they're just sorting out basically the last few issues, basically from the Alonso hard fork. I think they're working on that now. There will be another hard fork, a small one, I think, that will just sort all these issues out. And that's pretty much it. Nothing too mind-blowing, but I think it's just general message is it's growing, the ecosystem is growing, the DApps are in development. I found the number of NFT projects and generally the DEXs and everything really impressive, really good. And also the Boost partnership, especially at Helium, which I was looking at as well for my own crypto portfolio, is actually also partnering with Dish. So I found that really, really good. And as 5G is the future, Cardano is obviously indirectly involved in that as well with the partnership with Dish. So they didn't really talk a lot about Africa unless I missed it. I'm sure there will be more updates coming in the next few days. So, and that's pretty much it. So really, it sounds all good. Basically, good community. It's all growing. It's all developing. It's all looking good. They also talked about the Bluetooth program and everything. To be honest, I'm not too interested in that. I'm not a programmer. Yeah, so I didn't really take a few notes there, but I think it wasn't anything too interesting or too important, but generally looking good. So looking forward to all these DEXs and other projects that are being launched. So hopefully you liked that update. If you did, please smash the like button. And if you want to follow me on this crypto journey, then please subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.